Okay.
All right. Shelly, it says we're live, but we got to give it like 10 seconds before it catches up.
We got any 2x4s out there? Come on, let us know you're in the house.
2x4s, 5x5.
As much as
we honestly, do 2x4s because Jason builds shit.
Yeah. Instead of a 5x5. So, or we can tell him to do a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. That's what a 6x6 is.
So. Then you're only a half bubble off plum.
Yeah. But it is. I wanted to do, honestly, now I understand why people do intros to the shows, because they hit it to go live and they got a 30-second intro so they can come right in. But I absolutely I despise intros. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather sit here for 15 seconds and look like an idiot than do that.
All right. We're starting to get people in here. Right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading and preparedness. My name is Shelly.
I'm Jason, and we've got Grumpy Acres with us. We've got both of them.
Hello.
I am G, and this is Yoda, also known as Angela.
Yep.
All right, Shelly, how do we want to start this? Since I missed last week, I felt bad I was not here last week when you were doing Mike Atkins, but I was on the beach drinking. I wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't feel real bad.
Yeah.
No. I was like, I was gonna say, it's like, yeah, I was sitting on the beach in my beach chair with a Speedo on, drinking a Modelo, but then I was like,
what the hell? That kind of ties into my news story tonight, but okay.
Got nightmares tonight coming now.
Jeez.
You're a handsome man, Jason.
I need to go to bed after this show, and oh my God.
Well, now I'm up doing processing apples all night, so.
Jeez.
All right. What's the news story with the Speedo?
Well, it's not with a Speedo. It's without a Speedo. But so our sponsor tonight is Hickory Ridge Soap. If you want some really awesome soap, you can go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com and get you some. As Billy says, turn that simp into a pimp. Who else?
It's some good soap too.
Thank you.
I like it. Garen likes it. Garen likes the sexy beast.
I got plenty of it. You should have told me I'd have brought you some down to SRF.
He loves it. He's out.
I've got springtime sitting here.
Oh yeah.
Because Jason's that kind of guy.
I leave it down here because then it makes my office smell good.
Oh,
it does smell pretty good.
Yeah, it covers up the farts.
So the story that I have for tonight, I'm just, sometimes you hear things, and I like to just be on my homestead, working in my garden, playing with my pigs, whatever. And I wish that I was not like hearing the stuff that's happening out in the world, because the degree of stupidity that anyway, so apparently in Portland, Oregon, they've been having some issues with illegal immigrants.
You don't say.
That's impossible. But
so Trump wanted to mobilize the National Guard to go fix this problem. But they were having protests in front of the ICE facility and all that kind of stuff. And so he wanted to mobilize the National Guard. Well, the people in Portland, or some of the people in Portland, got really torqued up about that. They didn't want the National Guard in their city. They wanted to be able to do all their foolishness and all that kind of stuff. So on this last Sunday, on the 12th, they staged a naked bike ride.
I saw something about that.
50 degrees. It's 50 degrees, okay? And raining. And these yahoos are out on their bikes naked, and they rode all the way to the ICE detention place or whatever. And I'm just like, what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Can I ask a question?
What?
Does it say in their story if the bicycles were banana seats or beach cruiser seats?
No. But it did say that like there was several of them that were partially clothed just because it was so cold and raining. But they also had several of them that the only thing that they were wearing was helmets. So they were practicing bicycle safety.
Safety first.
Safety first.
There's so many ways we could go with that.
I mean, it's a lot.
Well,
And in the city of Portland, they've been doing this since 2004, but they normally do it in the summertime. They organized this impromptu naked bike ride because of the Trump thing, bringing in the National Guard. So yeah,
they've also added the blow up costumes, the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Pokemon. They've added these to the battle suits that they wear when they're fighting ice now. It's actually pretty comical.
Did you see the one where the guy had on that blow up costume and the ice guy shot the pepper spray in the fan?
Yeah.
I was like, that's golden right there.
Oh,
They're not serious people.
I don't know. I'm going to steer clear of that. I mean, that'll wind up like the WNBA and throwing toys on the court. And that was a pretty funny episode.
I think I would have had to be like that road counter on the side of the highway when they're counting how many cars. I'd be like, have two of them: banana seat, beach cruiser.
Well, you are focusing on that way too much.
I mean, I just think that would hurt. I don't even know how that's possible. I mean,
I bet some of the guys were riding without a seat.
oh,
I wasn't going to say it. I was not going to say it. I have matured enough that I was not going to say that out loud. But thank you, Jason.
you know, I knew when I came across this story, I was like, tonight's going to go sideways.
Look, I'm a Marine veteran.
Yeah.
I'm a Marine veteran, and these things just they trigger us, and we just go down that dark path, and we just go wherever it takes us. Sometimes I'm not saying it's healthy.
You have to go, this is the story. Okay, I have a veteran, a Navy brat, and a Marine Corps wife on. I'm not sure if I should lead with this story.
And you didn't put any guardrails up either.
There was no filter.
It was going to run off the road because you didn't put any guardrails up.
There can't be any guardrails because he doesn't pay attention to them.
Yeah.
But before we jump into what we're talking about, I do want to show you guys something because this totally made my day. So hold on just a minute. Let me show you.
While you're doing that, the guys who were riding without a seat are probably the ones that eat bananas for the shape.
Oh my God. Is this not the most amazing thing you've seen all day? So it says that the TVA is showing off their Halloween spirit with a giant Godzilla parade balloon that they have anchored between the two towers at the Watts Bar nuclear plant.
Oh, that's a real photo.
Wow.
This. It's like legit. It's real. I love this.
That's funny.
I thought that was AI generated.
Yep.
That's funny.
Where's that
Oh
at?
my God, that made me laugh so hard. It's the Watts Bar nuclear plant. I'm not sure which Tennessee Valley Authority. I mean, is in that area, Tennessee Valley.
And I'm such a geek. My first thought when I saw that was Godzilla's not that big.
Oh, Karen, you're just no fun. Come on.
That has scared all the Chinese people.
No.
Like the movies.
Godzilla.
All right, we've already hit guys that ride bikes with no seats, and now we're getting racial. Let's go.
Did you stream this on our channel?
Yes, I did.
They're dropping off like flies, guys.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I haven't even been paying attention to the chat. I see that Miss Sharon is in there. Hey, Miss Sharon, thank you for sharing all of our stuff. We greatly appreciate you. I don't see any questions yet, but at the very beginning, before our show even started, Michael from Self-Preparedness Awakening, he says cash is currently king when SHTF bartering will be king. Invest in everything homesteading, physical, precious metals, and PPE.
Right.
So, yeah. So the reason that we wanted to ask Grumpy Acres on here tonight is because I I don't know how much involvement Angela has in it, but I know that Garen sets up at Midwest. He sets up or organizes the whole bartering thing, or maybe it's kind of taken off and does its own thing now. I don't know.
Okay, I have not done that in quite a while. And here's the backstory behind the barter. We call it Barter Town, like out of the Mad Max movie. So the background on that is, so it's for anybody that doesn't know, Midwest Preparedness Festival started as just a family camp out, where a group of 5 families would get together and do campouts. And every Saturday night, they do what they called Barter Town. No money, only goods, right? And so when we joined it, we were the sixth family to join this. And that was 15 years ago?
we were number 5.
Oh, we were number 5.
We were
I'm
number
sorry.
5.
But that was what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so that was 15 years ago. And so it's grown. And we have set up Barter Town because we ran Midwest Preparedness Festival before it became the project. We ran that for a couple of years. We not ran it, but we organized it for everybody. It is a chore, I'm not going to lie. But and the whole concept behind it is the fact that bartering is a skill that you learn. All right. Some people come by haggling naturally. Other people have to work at it really hard.
He's terrible.
All right. So that's how it all came about. And I suggest, you're going to hear me say this several times tonight, you should set up a barter town in your area and just do it from time to time. If anything, just to practice your skills. So
even just start with the potluck, and then everybody brings some goods and that kind of thing and trade back and forth. And you may get rid of some stuff, gain some new stuff. Man, I mean, I've traded canned goods, some of my candied jalapenos, and ended up with camping cots and all kinds of stuff. Man, heaters. Traded a hose for a buddy heater. Oh yeah, silver. We did freeze-dried food that I make. I ended up with 65 ounces of silver. And man, I got the better end of the bargain of that. And what was funny is actually I traded the freeze-dried food for a manual pedal sewing machine. And there were 2 of them. And so I went ahead and got both of them. And then a girl comes, I went and helped her get her freeze-dried food. And I come back and there's people standing everywhere and they're in line. Who owns these? And I'm like, I do. And all of a sudden I had everybody throwing silver coins at me. It was like it went to the highest bidder. And I'm like, okay. And I looked at, we all know Hacks. And I looked at Hacks. I'm like, can you put this one together for me? He goes, yeah, that's actually the better one. And I said, great. So I kept that one and then took off with a bunch of silver ounces. So it was a win-win. Yeah. So you never know what you're going to be able to trade up.
We're actually getting ready to, on the 25th of this month, we're having what we're calling our super homestead meetup. Everybody's bringing a pot of soup. And I wanted to try to organize a barter town. And just for people, because like Garen, I am not good with stuff like that. I'm not somebody, I like to go yard selling, but I want to know just like, what do you want for it? And I'm not a haggler. I'm not going to argue with you or whatever. I'm not going to try to get you to come down in price unless it's something that I think, it's not worth what you have on it or whatever. I might make an offer, but chances are I'm not. And that's something that I feel like I need to get better at and practice. And especially just like knowing the value of things. That's the hard part, because what's valuable to me may not be valuable to you and vice versa. Right.
Right. And so value is actually in the eye of the beholder. And that's what makes bartering so great. As long as the 2 people that are bartering together feel like it was a good deal for them. So, you may think, wow, that item I just got was worth $25. I only paid, the item I traded, I got at a garage sale for 25 cents. But the other person could be going, wow, I feel like this is a really great deal. I haven't been able to find one of these at a garage sale. And every time I look online, it's $100. So the idea behind it is not really what each item is worth. It's how everyone feels walking away from the deal. As long as everyone feels that it's a fair deal, it's a good deal. So looking at it monetarily, it's kind of like if you ran out of soap, right? and you needed to shower, and it's been a while, since you've had soap, and now you just kind of smell like water, which is a little stale. We've all been camping. We know what that's like. And so, but all you want is a bar of soap. Well, all of a sudden that soap, what are you willing to have that soap? What's your dream for that bar of soap? I'll tell you what, I would probably, if I had spare food around, I would go ahead and take that out of my arsenal in order to get that bar of soap. And you would probably give me that bar of soap if you were running low on food and couldn't get to the store to get food, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like that, just as an example.
Well, and she brings up a key point. Bartering is the foundation of the human economic system. People in antiquity, before they had silver coins, shiny coins, or puka shells or tulips, they were exchanging stuff directly to take care of immediate needs, right? And that immediate needs is the important part, because that's what sets the value. Because I'll tell you what, we were talking about getting the silver and stuff. Silver ain't going to feed you if things have gone south and you don't have any food, right? You're going to have to exchange that for food. And if the other person doesn't want to get rid of their food, you're going to pay a lot of silver for those goods, right? But in the end, as long as you're walking away feeling, okay, I can put food in my belly now, it's a good exchange, And it also, so we had a sign up at Self-Reliance Festival that we would take.
I think we had it in Kentucky.
We could do credit. We could do credit, or we would take some of that quickly devaluing dirty government fiat in exchange for our goods and services. All right. Bartering is inflation proof.
Yeah. So
a loaf of bread today is going to trade like a loaf of bread tomorrow, whereas the dollar you have today is going to trade like 97% of a dollar tomorrow, per se, depending on how much inflation is, right? So it's all inflation proof, and that's the whole key to the bartering system, because you're not really setting up an alternative economy. That we like to say it's an alternative economy because we've gotten so far away from it. But what we're doing is we're going back to the basics whenever we're bartering.
The old ways.
Yeah. And so that's her talking about the value of it is spot on.
And here's the deal. So Shirley, I don't know if you were aware of what was happening when we were out at Self-Reliance and Garen needed to do the cheese class. He had forgot to load the turkey fryer. So we had literally spent hours looking for a turkey fryer on Friday. Something about Tennessee and no turkey fryers. I don't understand it. It's like a Midwest
thing. I remember him talking about it.
Yeah. So Garen was automatically, okay, we're going to barter this out. So he goes and finds somebody. Hey, you're local. You're inside the marina. You live here. Do you have a turkey fryer? The guy's like, yep, come on. And so they go up, grab the turkey fryer. He allows us to use the turkey fryer all day in exchange for a tamale. Like, seriously, a tamale. If we had to go out and buy that and search it, he was going to have to drive a half hour away. And then it was going to be $100 and some odd dollars. And there was no guarantee when he got there, it was still going to be there because they wouldn't pull it. Yeah. So, what is your time worth, right? Mine's worth a tamale.
Oh, yeah.
So it can be done very easily, very, very easily. And you just got to make it part of your system and part of your everyday. With me, so hopefully we don't end up back into that racist realm. But, my dad was in the Navy. We were stationed in San Diego. And we would go down to Tijuana all the time, and Rosarito and Ensenada. And bartering is a big portion of their culture, a huge portion of their culture, and haggling. And so I guess I just was blessed in that aspect that I grew up around that. And so it's not hard for me. It's not difficult. Now, for Garen, it's very difficult. Garen will give somebody the shirt off of his back, and I'm screaming, why did you do that? No. And so I've had to go back a couple times, and luckily with good friends, and say, hey, he did that. I didn't know about it. You could go ahead and keep it, but here's the deal. You owe us a little bit more, because I'm not trading out 200. Well, just for example, and I don't know that this is accurate, so don't take this to town, but $100 job for $1,000 item. In that aspect, I do kind of look at that. But the reason why I did look at that is because that's actually something I keep in my arsenal in case the grid goes down. But he's like, what's the big deal? You already have 3. Well, yeah, I do, but 4's nice. So I'm that girl.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. And here's something else to think about whenever you're discussing bartering. Bartering is not just about the goods or services that are being exchanged. Bartering helps build community. And when I say community, I'm not talking about just your immediate. You know how we talk about the concentric circles? You got your tribe, and then the community, then the greater community. This builds trust and across those circles, and by bartering, people, if you're honest about it and you're not ripping people off and you're not taking advantage of people, this will build trust, and that builds your social capital, right? And whether it's inside your own community or with somebody outside your community, somebody in another circle per se, that social capital is currency. It's literally currency that can be spent when you need something for your community.
Yeah, we barter a lot of that too.
And building that up is huge. That is probably the community aspect of bartering, in my opinion, is just as important, if not more important, than the physical aspect of actually exchanging goods and services.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know Darren and Patty, they talk about that all the time, building social capital and all of that. And I know that they run around and help people with stuff and all of that kind of thing. And that's so important, because you never know when you're going to need it, when you're going to need help, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
we try to give. Go ahead.
Leslie and I, Leslie with the School of Earth and All, I have called her so many times and asked her questions about stuff, herbal stuff. And I'm like, send me a bill. And she was like, no, when we buy our land, you're just going to have to do a consultation for us.
Right.
And I'm like, that's fine. I was like, keep up with how much you've done. And then when you get your land, I will come down and do whatever you need. And she's like, okay, that's fair by me. And I've done a bunch of stuff like that with her. So Lord, I'm probably going to spend a month down there once they get property to pay her back.
Yeah, no, we do the same. And so right now we're banking our social capital, same as Patty and Darren. And so you bank all of that, because we know we've got some work days coming that we're going to need all hands on deck.
And let's be clear about something. This is not about keeping a ledger.
Oh yeah, no.
All right.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't feel that way at all.
Well, some people, I used to keep a ledger. Seriously, and it was something I kept in my head.
Never about what anybody owed him, but about what he owed other people.
Yeah, it's what I owed to other people, because I don't want to be a freeloader or anything. So I kept a mental ledger, and it was Darren, as a matter of fact, that broke me that, because he kept hammering into me is there's no ledger here. The social capital that we're exchanging, it is free flowing, and it will level out like water eventually. So that's an important thing to remember.
Oh yeah.
So if you're brand new to bartering, and you're thinking, okay, what would be the best thing for me to start with, or whatever, or even like if you're anticipating at some point you're going to have an SHTF situation, what would be maybe your top 5 things that you would have on hand that maybe that may not be super expensive for you to buy right now, but would be something, like if you saw it in a yard sale, you'd pick it up and that kind of thing. So like for me, it would be canning jars. Like I've been finding them at real estate auctions and yard sales and all of that stuff. And I've been stockpiling them for me, but now I'm getting to the point where, hey, I could probably barter this at some point, because I'm getting really good at finding them. So what is something like that you would suggest that people have that kind of currency, I guess?
So the key to that statement or that question is knowing what people need. And you do this by listening and talking with people and understanding what they need. And we're going to throw out 5 things, but those 5 things may not be applicable to your area.
Right.
It's like if we if we wanted to trade sheep equipment to take care of sheep around here, yeah, we'd starve to death because everybody raises sheep. So you have to know your audience. And with that said, and you can chime in here, I would agree with you. Food preservation equipment is probably number one. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean the jars are good, but I mean things like seals for Presto canners, weights for All American canners, pressure valves, the safety valves on them. These things all wear out. And
I teach you so well. I'm so proud of you.
And when they wear out, those canners become useless. Right? If you don't have a good gauge that's within about 5 pounds, you're going to ruin a lot of food.
Yeah, and so he had asked me about that because I was going to a great place for anybody that's out there and listening for you to have these items on hand is Ace Hardware or what's the other one? Is that True Value?
Yeah, True Value.
You know, like little hardware stores like that. A lot of times, and especially around this time of year and late winter, they start putting a lot of the stuff on clearance for different models. Now, I have gauges, I have rims, I've got all kinds of stuff, gauges, all kinds of stuff that don't fit any of the canners that I have. But every time that I end up doing a canning class for ranchers or something like that, and they bring in grandmas or, you know, AMT's canners and say, are these still good? I have literally been able to pull out my tools and go, you know what? They are now. And I can get their canner operating and working and show them how to use it. So it's going to be the same thing like that in SHTF. You're going to want that. I think the other thing that I would add in, and one thing that Garen and I did, and this was really give credit where credit was due. This was Doug drove into our head from TAG at Life Done Free. And it was, you've got to turn your money into tangibles. And I always loved that saying because I felt that way as well. So where do you start with that? Well, for us, we're in the Midwest, we're farming, we got livestock, we got all that. So it was going to farm equipment auctions. And we were picking up all kinds of stuff, whether that be fencing materials, if it, you know, because your fencing is constantly going to go out. So do you have enough barbed wire laying around, cattle panels? What else? Posts?
I would say just in general, any construction materials or any like hinges, guttering, doorknob, guttering. I mean, anything that you've got enough storage room for is a good thing to stockpile. Now, okay, so I'm gonna take you in a different route here with the last three. Okay. So if we're talking about an extreme SHTF situation, all right, here's two things that I would have on hand, and just trust me on this. Number one is alcohol.
Yes.
Or the ability to make alcohol.
Still it.
Right. I'm going to give you some prepper math right now, guys. So a 55-gallon drum will hold 330 pounds of sugar. And with 330 pounds of sugar, you can distill almost 100 gallons of 100 proof natural or neutral spirits, which can be used for drinking. Medicine. It can be used for medicine. It can be used for making tinctures. It's got all kinds of things. So having either that on hand or having stuff on hand, the ability to make it, it's going to come in handy. The other thing is, and you guys, the women in the group are not going to like this.
I told him this, so don't get mad at him.
No, you didn't tell me this.
Are you talking lipstick?
Makeup.
I told you that.
If it looks like you're going to go into an extreme situation, makeup. You find it on clearance all the time, and it goes bad. So makeup will go bad if it sits long. So it's easy to replace. Again, this is a lot of women don't like this. Women like to feel good about themselves. Makeup does that.
Okay. So
it also facilitates exchanges of services for goods. If you understand, hey, hush. If you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to be crude.
It supports the oldest profession in the world.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So that was my whole thing. I'm like, you know, I told Garen this, and he's like, I can't believe you're saying that. And I'm like, I'm just saying, you're going to have somebody that is so hungry, they're going to be willing to do anything, and you need to help them out. And so what would that be? Maybe you just barter some lipstick, right? Go back to the old West. It wasn't that they wore a lot of makeup. They just wore bright lipstick.
She wants to take credit for that. But the truth.
Did you come up with that?
Truth of the matter is, if you go back and you read the stories that the guy called Selko, he survived the siege of Sarajevo during the Yugoslavian War in the 90s. That was one of the things that he mentioned in his memoirs, that makeup became a huge barter item.
I didn't know that.
Right? And so the fifth thing, and this is you're gonna knock yourself in the head when I say this: skills. Learn skills, because the skills that you have are going to be valuable when it comes time to start bartering for stuff. If you know carpentry, I know, Jason does construction. His construction skills, invaluable, because there are a ton of people out there that don't know how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And 15 years ago, I could not tell you how to make a square corner. I know how to do it now.
Miss Sharon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And she's not too far off the mark.
She's not. She's really
not too far off the mark. But have those skills, because the old prepper adage, skills don't weigh a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Books can weigh thousands of pounds if you got a big enough library, but the skills that are inside your head. They're very portable and they're very exchangeable. Mm-hmm. So learn skills right now.
So Gregory's on here.
What?
Go ahead, Jason.
I forget we have a delay. I'm sorry.
The skills thing. Don't forget, we've got the land navigation class coming up. Mike Atkins is teaching it. It's November 8th and 9th at Barren River Lake State Park. We've got it at 25% off because we want people to come to this thing. It's going to be an amazing class. There's no coupon codes. You go to the website, hit it on there, pay for your ticket, and it's a 2-day class. Mike is going to get in the weeds on how to do land navigation. I mean, 2 days of intense land navigation class for that. I mean, that's a skill. I mean, if you're actually going to be out navigating and doing stuff, Mike is the guy that I would want showing me how to do that. But
nice.
Y'all can get that at the website. And Forrest, Alabama's here too.
That'll be fun.
Oh, so another thing that I was thinking about when you're talking about doing the skills, it's probably a good idea for like the people in your family, for you all right now, to be going out and learning different skills, because that just makes your group more impactful, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's like Gregory just pointed out, Gregory Kissel, follower, one of our members of our channel. And he said, fish hooks and line. And that's absolutely true. But this is the time now while we're in comfortable times. Garen and I say this all the time. Thank God we're not starving, because we're learning our lessons right now. And so not everyone is equipped to just use a line and hook and be able to go out and fish. Now I can, because we did that as kids. You can. But there's a way that you got to tie that knot. There's a way that you have to do all of that to get that on the stick. Is the stick too dry, or is the stick going to be able to pull up a 4-pound fish? Because sometimes they're out there. And then depending on the weight, height, that kind of thing, that stick may need to be a little bit firmer, shorter, that kind of thing. So we need to be teaching our kids this and our grandkids this stuff.
Yeah.
I think maybe a fishing derby. Even.
I think at the base of the question of the 5 items, practical preparedness. All right. Because we stockpile what we need, correct? Yeah. And we trade for what we can. And so think about practical preparedness items that you can get your hands on and stockpile those. And what's practical for you may not be practical for somebody else. But I guarantee you that whenever the stores close, they will hold their value. Let's just put it like that. Okay. So it's gonna differ for everybody.
One of the interesting things that we did one year, one of the barter towns that we did, it was really funny. It's Applesauce's son, the Sauces. And so the Sauces came and their son decided he was going to get into bartering. And so, because we encourage the kids to get into that, start doing that, we want them to learn super young. He was able to get a hold of really tiny square. They were in a circle, and they turn into washcloths, but they're really compact and circle. You hardly know. You get them wet, they spread out. And he also had the heating safety blankets. Is that what those called? You know, the metal sheets. They're like a diamond dozen or something. The
emergency
like
survival blankets.
Yeah, and so he brought a bunch of those, and he started trading with that just a little bit at a time. That kid walked away with so much stuff. He had jars of honey, Lapua bullets. He had there was some other ammo in there. I mean, he was able to just keep trading and trading and trading and trading up, and he did a great job at it. And so that's what we try to encourage, and especially adults learning the same thing and trying to figure out how to keep trading that up and get that going.
Well, and since you brought up the topic of kids at Bartertown, it's, if you guys hold something like this, it's paramount that you get the kids involved.
And that means trading for glow sticks.
Well,
just so you know,
and it, you know, what they hold as valuable, adults don't hold as valuable, and they need to learn that at a very young age that they're not looking at what's valuable to them. They need to figure out what's valuable for other people.
I had to pull that trigger, and
she made a 7-year-old cry one
of the girls, and now she's like, what, 15, 16?
Yeah.
And she still calls me the mean girl.
Yep.
Because I said no.
I mean, same stuff. Talking about me being in construction, anytime we remodel a house, there's been a lot of times where everybody's like, I want all new doorknobs, and I want all new hinges to match the new doorknobs. So I'm taking them off. It's like, let's put them together. I throw them in a 5-gallon bucket and bring them home. I've got buckets of doorknobs and hinges, any kind of brackets and all that crap. I just throw it all in 5-gallon buckets and keep it. And then when you're doing screws and all that, bolts and everything like that, I've got buckets and buckets of that.
Yeah.
And then the doors, if you pull a door off a house, I go ahead and keep the slab. I'm like, heck, I can make a jam for it. So
here's something to remember about that. So the original settlers that came across the country and settled the Great Plains and all that, they could not carry these items with them. They could not carry nails. They were so desperate for these things that they would burn down old buildings and sift through the ashes to get the nails. Yeah. Now, can you imagine if there was somebody there that had a bucket full of nails that they could just trade and they wouldn't have to go through all that issue? How valuable that would be. That's
why we don't have a lot of barns still standing from the 1800s for that very reason.
Yeah. And that stuff, like Forrest said nails will be worth their weight in gold when the lights.
Scrap wood too, Jason. If you can get scrap wood, that's going to be something. It is now. It is around here anyway. We love scrap wood. And then windows as well. So when I was in real estate, anytime anybody said, okay, I'm selling my house, I'm going to put new windows in, I'm like, what are you doing with your old ones? And everybody would literally, including coworkers, save their windows for me. And I didn't care if the gasket was blown in it or whatever, if it was leaking, because all I could think of, there's my greenhouse. And so, you know, you save up enough windows, there's your greenhouse. Scrap lumber, windows.
You know, Bruce DeVries Leather.
Yeah.
He called me and he said, we're putting all new windows in our house. Do you want our old windows? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I drove down to Tennessee and picked those windows. And he didn't even trade me anything for them. He's like, they're on the back deck and I'm saving them for you. Just come get them.
Yep. So, and do you know, like, we have windows stored over on somebody else's property and that kind of thing, which we need to get back over. But we have people that are coming in and just building their places. And they're like, hey, you got a pile of windows out there. Can I, use some windows? And they're in such strait. We don't try to barter, but we also know them well enough that we know if we need work done here, they're going to come help us. And so we're like, go get the size that you need for that loft area and do what you got to do. So they go and do that. I think Tag also has a pile of windows. I mean, we've all pretty much been standard on that. So anything building materials, got to have it.
Yeah, Shelly's seen the shop. There's a ton of building materials in my shop. It's stupid. So
it won't be stupid. I'm telling you, you're going to need it. And it just takes one Canadian Fire or, some Northwest American fire. And there's a couple of years when we first moved here, we were scrambling because lumber went up so high. We were trying to figure out where we were going to get wood from. And if it wasn't for the community and having ties and that kind of thing and being able to
Jason
barter.
remembers that time.
Yeah,
Right?
Jason,
sure
you probably remember.
He got hit with it too.
Yeah.
My dad, I was down in his shop a couple years ago, and I was looking at something, and he has got 1x12, 16-foot clear poplar boards. Ooh. And I was like, where did you get these? And he was like, I bought them several years ago. He said, I was somewhere and they had them for like next to nothing. He said, I just bought all they had. He's like, I was going to use them for something. They're still sitting down. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to take these things up to the shop sometime.
Yep.
And he still got full sheets of oak and poplar plywood, 3/4 plywood that he bought. I mean, he bought them at a next to nothing, and they're just sitting down there in the shop. I'm like,
well, and you can get stuff like that through barter. I wish I still had access to it, but if you can find an old house or an old barn that's made with true dimensional wood, where a 2x4 is actually 2x4, and it's made out of oak, that wood, the planks and all that wood will last way longer than modern wood will. Right. And so you barter the work for it. You tear down somebody's barn for them, you get the wood in return, and then you've got stuff to build on your own place, or you can barter it for other things.
Yeah.
So what's really funny is like Lynn Huffman, he just put in here, I donate most of my stuff from my rehabs and restore to Habitat for Humanity store. And that's really funny. And the reason why I think it's funny is because a lot of us go to rehab, Habitat for Humanity in order to get a lot of the supplies and stuff that we need for our farms. And then whatever is extra we'll do. For example,
that's not bartering though.
No, don't hang tight. Okay. Hang tight. I'm getting there.
Okay.
So what I was able to do is I knew we needed to redo the bathroom in the hallway. And I went and I bought for $35. There was a bunch of mismatched tile and this kind of thing on what do you call those things? The wood pallets on a pallet. And so I had bought that. They loaded the pallet in. I come back. Garen's like, what are you going to do with all that? It's scrap. It doesn't match. And I said, I'll figure out something to do with it. Don't discount me. And so then another friend of ours found what's that auction that you guys do all the time? Equip Bid or something like that. Yeah, Equip Bid, you can go pick up things. And there was another pallet of Subway tile, but it got it for $10. So I go and I grab that pallet and then put them together and then had everything sitting out. And I said, okay, now it's time to do the bathroom. Well, we have great friends in the community that love cutting tile, doing flooring, designing. She's really, really good at it, her and her husband. And so we went through everything, matched everything together, and put it all together. And then I said, okay, now I need enough tile for the master bath. And our master bath is actually considered a suite. And so it's a lot bigger. It's going to take more tile. And she goes, this is all you're going to need. And so I look over and I'm like, okay, I got extra tile. The son of Hacks is doing a bathroom. And he was like, and I think Patty was the one that said something about it. And she said, Daniel needs tile. And I was like, well, I got tile. How much tile does he need? So they gave me the square footage. We were able to go through the extra boxes and do that and barter out. I think I ended up giving it to him, but Daniel does enough stuff for us that it's kind of like a barter in that they're different with us. We just kind of help each other out. So yeah, you know how that is, Shelly.
I've got a question for you guys. So how confident are you in the monetary system in the United States?
You want to go deep? Well,
no. This is an important question to ask whenever we start talking about bartering. Mm-hmm. So how much confidence do you have in the monetary system right now?
Not much.
I think a lot of people would say not. Mm-hmm. and we've been off the gold standard since 1972. And we're kind of reaching the end of the rope there, right? And there's a very distinct possibility that the economy could crash, and like Argentina early 2000s crash. And so what bartering does is it it doesn't set up an alternative economy. It sets up a parallel one. And you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, because at one point, we had all our money tied up in the stock market, right? And it was diversified in the stock market. But if the stock market ceased to exist tomorrow, all that value would have been gone. All that wealth, literally all that wealth would have disappeared overnight.
We actually had a really long conversation about that too. So it wasn't like we just kind of sat there and said, okay, we're getting out. I kept telling Garen my concern because I was watching where the real estate market was going and what was happening. And I said, I really don't like the fact that we only have gold certificates for gold that we're storing in Canada. This bothers me. If anything were to happen and I needed that gold or you needed that gold, we would actually have to figure out how to go up to Canada and get the gold. That doesn't work. And so I had to explain to the financial planner, our financial planner, a good friend of ours, this is the problem that I'm having. It's not in my hand. It's not tangible. And he's like, you're overreacting. I'm like, I don't think I am. I really see an issue with this. And then finally, Greg and Garen sat down for a little bit. And how did you figure out how we were going to, because that was a big decision. That wasn't overnight.
It was easy.
I just don't want you to throw that out and tell everybody that it's going to be easy.
It's an easy decision. Once you make it, you make the decision to diversify in a real practical way.
Okay.
The first conversation I had with our financial advisor was he asked us if we were in precious metals. And I told him, yes, I invest in precious metals. And he asked me what kind. And I said, brass and lead and copper. And he looked at me funny, and it took him a second for him to understand what I was talking about. Because ammo is one of those things that's only going to go up in value over the long term. Right. It's only going to go up in value, especially in what we're facing today. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But you want to put your wealth into practical things. And that's one thing that bartering does is, it reduces our reliance on a very fragile system. And whether you want to admit it or not, the financial system in America is extremely fragile, especially right now. We saw in 2008 how quickly it could take a downturn. We saw how easily in 1999 during the dot-com bubble burst, how it could take a turn, and there's still people recovering from it financially from the late 1990s because they had all their eggs in one basket. So by bartering, by learning how to barter and turning your fiat currency into hard assets in the form of barter items or items that you may need for practical preparedness, you're short-circuiting that system that is meant to keep you enslaved to it, right? Okay, that's a little radical, but it's the truth. Period.
I mean, look what I pulled it up right now. Gold's at 42.49 and silver's at 53.38. It's crazy what it's doing.
So that happened back in the 80s too.
Silver has gone up by 35% over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. And gold has gone up by almost the same percentage, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, they're showing what was it? Well, you're looking October 9th, gold was at 4,058, and now it's at 42.49. So yep. That's, and then let's see. Yeah, same date. October 9th, silver was 49.56, and it's 53.42 now. Right. So it's pretty freaking cool.
So Forrest said, I'm part of the XRP Army. You need to get crypto. Okay, here's my thoughts on crypto. You can barter with it. All right, you can barter with it. There's a story about a guy back in the early 2000s that spent 120 crypto coins on a pizza.
Yes.
And that pizza, had he kept it, would be worth $4 million today. All right. But here's the thing about crypto. It's an in and out thing. You have to know when to get rid of it because crypto is no different than Pokemon cards or baseball cards or tulips, right? It only holds the value that people put in it.
Not anymore.
All right.
Yeah, but isn't it electronic?
Yeah,
it's electronic, and
People-
now
If
it's
the
considered
lights go out, you don't have crypto.
correct.
people put a lot of, and I'll go one step further than that, Shelley. So the U.S. government is looking at putting the central bank digital currency out, the CBDC, and it's a cryptocurrency. And here's one thing about the government I learned from working in it as long as I did: the government does not like competition.
No.
All right. And they already, during the Biden administration, they were making it extremely hard for crypto startups to happen. And they were doing that on purpose because they did not want them ultimately competing with the Federal Reserve. Right. And once they roll out the Federal Reserve crypto, I'm 100% certain that they will do everything they can to destroy every single cryptocurrency, to drive it underground, to make it so people look at it as though it's a bad thing, because they do not like competition. So get in it. If you know what you're doing with crypto, get in it, but watch what's going on in the world, because it could very easily just go like that. It could disappear just as quickly as money that's tied up in the stock exchange.
I see your paper here, and you guys, I just need to do some reflection here real quick. I see your paper here, and I hear your topic, and like what you're coming up with. How much more of that kind of conversation do you have in there? I may need to remove myself from the group.
No, that's it. I'm not talking about.
Okay.
I'm not talking about anything like that.
Okay, and so we do not endorse, nor do we talk negatively about crypto. There we go. You guys make your own decisions, get your own.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
Do your own education. We're not financial experts.
By all means, I am not a financial. And I said this is my opinion. This is my opinion.
My bosses are watching. You got to fire him, not me.
You didn't sleep in a Holiday Inn last night?
Yeah. No,
I should have.
No, but it's important. This is an important discussion to have.
Yeah.
Because you know the system is built to keep you in the monetary system. Mm-hmm. Everything that we do is meant to keep us in there. And by learning how to barter and creating the swap meets and barter towns and things like that, what you're doing is you're stepping outside the system, and eventually, worst case scenario, it's going to be illegal, and what you're doing is you're going to be running basically a black market. It's
happening now.
You saw it in the Soviet Union, before it collapsed.
It's happening in the U.S. now. So Kansas actually had something happen. I think Missouri was doing the same thing. And so if you had a garage sale, you were supposed to report how much money you made at a garage sale so that you could pay the taxes on it. It's like, I already paid taxes on it twice. First of all, I made the money, paid taxes. Then I bought it and paid taxes. And now I'm selling it for pennies on the dollar. You're not taxing me for that. So we fought back pretty hard on that, but they kind of relaxed it, but the regulation is not gone.
No, Missouri never enacted
Kansas
it.
Is still
Missouri never
they
enacted
can enforce it when they want to, right?
Right. So you don't want to go sideways, and that's the one thing that they are a little worried about with bartering. And so it's just kind of like one of those things that, like, now we got to come up with a building permit, and what was that worth? Well, we bartered a lot of that stuff. So it's like, well, okay, I don't know, maybe $100 is what it's worth. And they're like, really? So they're going to start coming after us with what we barter. We're going to have to start paying taxes on it at some point, because they're going to realize what they're doing is just destroying the currency. So.
And here's something else that people don't think about. I got some points to cover for talking about bartering and everything, because it's such a complex topic. I mean, it's not just throwing a blanket down on the ground and putting your stuff down and trading people. There's so many more things to think about. By getting into bartering, you're reducing the risk of theft, because if you've got a great big pile of lumber, that's a heck of a lot harder to steal than a cash box full of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it becomes exponentially harder the bigger the stash is, so to speak. And when you're talking about trading and theft, one of the things I always want to hit on, if you're not in a situation where you can control it, security needs to be your number one concern. All right. You need to practice proper trading security. In that, number one, you always let people know where you're going, and number two, you meet in a neutral location where it's extremely visible. Yes, a parking lot is a great place to do it, to do a trade, a barter.
But not in West LA.
Yeah, but and not at midnight.
Right.
So you want to practice security. And then the other thing is, if you're going someplace to barter somebody, don't take all your stuff with you. All right, you want to take just enough so that they get a taste of what you've got, and then you
beg you for more.
Then you agree on the barter value of everything, and then you trade the goods after that in a secure manner. All right, because too many people. You hear about people. The Craigslist killer. That was all barter. He was doing that all on barter. He was setting these meets up.
I didn't know that.
And then
creepy.
And then he was killing people. And the two knuckleheads up in Washington State that were kidnapping people and killing them. They were doing the same thing.
Way to spell bartering, Aaron.
Well, no, it's extremely. This is extremely important.
Yeah, everybody that's coming to the Homestead meetup, that's not going to happen there.
Right?
Just don't get in a van that says free ammo.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, but and on a serious note, your Homestead meetup, you guys control that, and you guys control the security on that, right? And that's one of the things.
I think in that when the ideas behind Mad Max, when they did that, it was controlled too as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, and if you listen to Modern Survivalist, Fairfall, he lived in Argentina during the collapse in 2000, and they would set up these big barter towns, swap meets, or whatever you want to call them, in abandoned grocery stores and department stores. And the people running these things would literally have guys with guns at the door and patrolling the floor to make sure that nothing happened. So security is in the worst of times it's life-saving, and in the best of times it can be life-saving too.
Yeah.
So just take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's got its place for sure. And a lot of people do need to practice the skill, because if you've never done it, you're going to get taken to the cleaners on stuff.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
So if anybody out there, anybody watching is coming to the Super Homestead meetup that we're having on October 25th at the Bowling Green Ag Expo Center, it's a free event. We just ask you to bring a pot of soup and share, or dessert or something like that. If you want to bring things to barter, we want to set up a barter town and see how it goes. I'll have some soap there, and maybe some of my tinctures. I don't know. I'll go through my stuff and see. I actually I went to a farm auction, and there was a guy there that was selling tomato cages. And so nice. They were made out of fence, right? They're not like the ones at Walmart. And they're like as tall. So they're like 4 foot tall, and they're about 2 feet in diameter. Yep. And I got them for like $1 a piece, and there was like 30 of them or something like that.
Wow.
So I only need like half of them. I've got a buttload of them in the back of my garage, and I thought I could take those to Bartertown and like barter that stuff. So, look around at what you have. Maybe you have some items that you can bring and barter, and let's learn how to do this and get good at it. So when we have to have the skill, we'll have the skill, right?
And Shelley, you just brought up a really good point. Bartering, getting into an barter economy can increase your self-sufficiency, because why buy and make it? The guy used that fence and made homemade tomato cages and sold them to you. He traded fiat currency for those tomato cages. Now you can take those homemade cages. If you've got tomato seeds, you could barter tomato seeds and tomato cages so somebody can grow tomatoes next year, right? So learn how to make stuff and barter with that. You know, barter with stuff that you've either bartered other people with or you found. You know, I made. Shelley, you probably saw some of these. You know, little deer antler bottle openers.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is something that I could barter people with. In fact, we did at Midwest Preparedness Festival. I bartered one for something. You know, but it's learn how if you can sew clothes, because in a grid down situation or an extreme financial crisis, clothes aren't going to last. And people that know how to make clothes are going to have a gold mine sitting at their feet if they've got fabric and stuff. Yep. Right.
Yeah. Fabric is actually a great thing to barter too. I put that on the list.
You know, you want to hear something goofy? I'm going to make a confession, and it's just going to sound stupid, and you guys are going to laugh at me. But when I came to Midwest, I brought, so back in the day, long time ago, like my very first job out of high school, I used to be a barber. And so I remember
this.
I brought all my stuff to to Midwest, my haircut and stuff. And because I asked Patty, I was like, you think I could barter haircuts?
Yep.
She was, and I actually cut Patty's hair at that festival, like back at their camp thing. I cut her hair for her.
Is that when she had the bowl cut?
Yeah, people would do that. And then I got up there and I was like, I just froze. Like I didn't tell anybody. I didn't offer it. I was just like, oh, I can't do this. Like that's so loud. I just freaked out and I was like, I can't do this.
Hot Settlers Haven. I hope I said that right. Good bartering skill is to become a conversationalist, right? Yeah. Learn how to talk to people. The hardest part of making a barter is that first conversation. Seriously, that is the hardest one.
Yeah. Well, Shelley, you know, you said barber, so are you a hairstylist too?
Yeah. Like I went to barber school, but I know how to do everything except for like nails. I don't know how to do that.
You do good with thick hair?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll barter something with you. Next time I see you, you can do my hair. I don't trust a lot of people.
It'd be awful damn expensive haircut driving all the way to Kentucky.
No, she'll be out. We'll see each other. Next time I'll save my hair for you. I need a hairdo.
Gotcha. That'll work.
You know, bald cap only goes so far. I can't wear it to work.
Hey, if you can do a straight razor haircut, I'm in.
I know how to razor cut. I know how to do a fade. I can do, all of that stuff.
We're actually looking for somebody that can do hairstyling and haircuts and that kind of thing to come into our community, because that's the one thing we're lacking. So we would love for somebody like you to come up here.
Yeah, I'm not moving to Kansas.
I know you're not moving to Kansas. You just send somebody over here. But make sure they know how to deal with thick hair. They got to deal.
If you tell everybody at Midwest that I'm coming and I'm going to do haircuts, then
I'll line them up. I'll do that.
Let's Spags and Data know.
I'll get with them. No, I want part of this so she can do my hair. You know how much it costs me to get my hair done. He's always complaining because my hair is so thick. It's like $300 by the time I'm walking away for a cut and color. And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No." So, girl, I'll barter. I'll do it. I'll get you all kinds out there. I'll have a line for you.
You're not bartering very well because you're telling her exactly how much it's worth.
She does it. She did it as a profession. She knows how much it is for thick hair, and she's seen my hair. She knows what I got going on.
That's the thing. I came out there prepared to do it, and then I just froze. I was just like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this.
You can't freeze. We'll put you in a separate section. We'll get you your own tent. You'll have a separate section.
There you go.
We'll set you up.
We have anything else,
Jason? Put you to work. You're gonna come out.
I don't think so. We've covered. We've covered haircuts, banana seats,
naked bikers.
Yeah,
naked bikers.
I think we've covered all of it, except for like Brazilian waxes.
I'm sure there's a market for that too. I'm just too old, too old and don't care.
I ain't doing that. No.
Nope.
I think we've covered all of it. I mean, it's been a good conversation. I mean, I think people need to barter stuff and start tucking away stuff that you can barter on down the road. I mean, one of the nicest things about barter is it cuts a 3-letter agency out. They don't get their cut.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it cuts into government control is what it does. It takes power away from the system.
Yes. And don't forget the fish nets. If you've got fish nets, you don't need fishing line and hooks.
Yep.
Just saying.
Well, you kind of do.
Well, you learn how to cast net at that point.
Doesn't that depend on what you're fishing for?
Right.
Yeah. Either way, you're fishing for meat.
So the top 5 things to have to barter for, did you finish that? Yes, I have a list. So they said food preservation equipment and replacement parts for those things, any construction materials, alcohol or the ability to make alcohol, makeup, skills, and then they added fish hooks and lines. I have that on there too.
And I want to adjust that list. Let's put alcohol and makeup as honorable mentions, because quite honestly, you know, having seeds to barter is going to be.
Oh, seeds is good.
Seeds, yeah. And the other thing is water purification methods. Giving the people the ability to either
filter their
get
water,
clean water from you or filter their own water. You know, you have to take care of those 3 primary survival aspects. You know, right. food, water, and shelter. Right. Everything else that comes after that is just gravy on it. Right.
Yeah. So one of the other things too is I think tobacco. I think tobacco goes in there with the bad habits, with the alcohol and all that.
Okay, so
you have to have the ability to do that.
Here's the thing about tobacco, and this is a lot of goods that may go on your list. Anything that's perishable has a shelf life, and tobacco, once it's dried and made into the smokable form or chewable form, has a shelf life, and it's going to go bad. So you're going to constantly be restocking that stuff and redoing it. Yep. You know, so you need to figure out for things like that
how to grow your own.
You need to figure out if the hassle of restocking and storing it is worth it. Right. So canned goods are not as nutritionally valuable as fresh food, but canned goods are going to last on your shelf for 10 years versus a couple of weeks for fresh food. All right.
No, I see where you're going. You're trying to get everybody to survive, not become kings. Okay, yeah. I get you.
You know, now if you're bartering today, fresh veggies, man. People love that stuff. Fresh, plants. Bartering plants. It's one of the things. In fact, we've got a horseradish plant out here that we got from one of the neighbors that we bartered for about 12 years ago, and
12 years ago we put it in here.
It went to our place over in Missouri, and it was there, and then we brought it. I transplanted it and brought it here and planted it here. So it's still producing horseradish.
The original one out there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I didn't realize it was that old.
Yep.
Wow. Huh.
But I get what you're saying, but like around here in Kentucky, which tobacco used to be one of the biggest cash crops in Kentucky. Now it's probably wheat or something like that. But there's still quite a few farms around us, around our whole area here in South Central Kentucky, that they raise tobacco. Mm-hmm. And when they go through and cut tobacco, always like in the fields, there's, all these like little plants that they left behind that didn't get to full, and I have thought many times, like you could probably go in there and get those little plants. The farmers don't want them or whatever, and hang them up to dry. And, you're right. It doesn't have the calorie value that food does and all of that. But when you got a junkie, like somebody addicted to cigarettes that needs cigarettes, you might be able to do some serious bartering just for a little bit of tobacco or whatever.
Yeah, but like I said, it's got a shelf life on it.
Yeah.
Well, you hang it and dry it. There's a way you can store it, and you can store that temporarily in the freezer. Not a big deal. But I remember my mom used to put her cigarettes in there all the time. But I tell you, I know a lot of people, they're not heavy drinkers. They'll have one drink. All of a sudden, they want to smoke a cigarette. You hand them one of those cigarettes, they've got the high that they need for the entire night. Why not go ahead and have that? I mean, instead of opening up an opium store like they did, or what is it, shop or whatever, I don't even know, lounge. Instead of opening up something like that or a full-on bar, serve one drink and a cigarette. Everybody's happy. They can go home. Nobody's stressed. Nobody's beating their wife.
Well, and what you're getting into now is the psychological benefits of bartering.
Right.
You know, you talked about the addictive personalities. If you can feed those addictions, yeah, you're going to do it. But here's the downside of that. If you're doing that, those people are going to come back and they're going to want it more and more and more. What if you don't have it? You know, you run the risk. That's why I do not advocate bartering weed or any illicit substances. You know, nothing like that. Right? Alcohol is as far as I'll go because it's got so many different uses. Not that medicinal marijuana doesn't have uses, but you understand what I'm saying.
Right, right.
But if you can provide something that makes somebody feel good, especially if they're really stressed out, melatonin. Maybe have melatonin on hand so people can sleep.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I would start storing up tobacco seeds and putting them in your seed vault.
Well,
That's what I would do. Grow your own tobacco, shred it, dry it, shred it, and then get you a roller.
Yeah, but that doesn't take care of all the other things.
What other things?
If anybody out there is looking for tobacco seeds, Mike Sparks up in Indiana, he has tobacco seeds.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been getting them from, I think it's like
Buffalo Creek,
White Mountain. I've got some from Buffalo Creek. And
Buffalo Creek Seeds has tobacco that they've harvested the seeds specifically to make them able to grow here in this region.
Yeah. So because we have to be drought hardy here.
That might be something there might be something you might want to talk to them and see about helping get seeds for your region.
Right.
Because all the seeds right now they're basically in the central Kansas area.
What are they called again?
Buffalo Creek Seed Company.
Buffalo Seed Company.
Buffalo Seed Company.
And it is Nancy, and then Jonathan is her husband. And so Jonathan is the one you're going to have to reach out to. I'll send you his phone number and email. Okay. And then, but they're real good. They travel all over the world and collect these seeds and have tried to figure out how to get them to work. And they're super shy, so you will never get them at a festival, anything like that. That everything's going to be behind the scenes. She might do a video or two with you guys if you want that. But they'll come out and help you out. They are local to us, so, and don't make a lot of money. I mean, like, her doctorate is literally in tomatoes. Like, this is what they do. It's all agriculture. But the sweetest people you've ever met, I'm telling you. Super sweet and willing to help you and figure things out. So
Bill says that the Nicotiana plant is available. That is a great plant to dry and smoke. It is in the tobacco family.
I'll have to look into that.
I'm just going to go the Breaking Bad route.
There you go. Blue meth.
You got to run around the RV in your tidy whities?
I will. I mean, or I might do it.
Lisa's not a Speedo.
I'll do it in my Speedo with my Modelo.
Well, in all seriousness, if you provide people escape from the misery that they're in, that's worth value to people, right? So at the end of the world,
Yeah, who knows?
Of course, then you got to deal with meth heads, but that's a whole nother issue.
I wouldn't want to deal with them
long.
Yeah,
this is true.
All right, we're getting dark on this.
Yeah.
So, all right. We're like an hour and 15.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all having us on. We had a good time, and
yeah, we appreciate you all coming on.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if you want another one, Garen's got a whole book here.
I will do it again soon.
Hey, plug your canning class real quick, since you can do it online. Just real quick, plug that, okay?
Plug it, Garen, real quick. Plug
So-
it. I don't know. That's like a data and Garen thing.
Sunday the 19th, she's giving a canning class. It's going to be about 4 to 5 hours long.
Do you have the link?
It's going to be at the
Link.
Seaman Church in Topeka, Kansas.
What?
North Topeka.
In North Topeka. And I do
Okay,
not
you keep cutting out, and all we
have
heard
the
was
link
semen.
on.
5:30. Oh, yeah, he wasn't. He must not have planned on doing that. But we'll get it over to you. You guys can plug it wherever.
She keeps saying that this is me. No, this is all her.
So,
Seriously, this is all her.
I mean, you guys saw tonight. I have video evidence. I walked in that door 15 minutes before we're supposed to be on here. I have enough time to go to the bathroom, put my slippers on, get something to drink, and I got to be in front of the computer.
I am carrying stuff into the church. I'm carrying stuff out.
All I heard was
But it is going to be available online. So here's what I'm going to say. If you go over to Midwest Preparedness Project, you can also check out our live from last night. Go into the comments. You say
it's on our community page.
It's on our community page.
Post on it.
And well, no, that was the flyer, right?
The flyer.
Yeah. So that's not going to help you. If you need to see it on the internet, go to Midwest Preparedness Project and you can buy the link. Shelly should have the link. She signed up
right now.
Yeah. And
Okay,
so you can get the link.
Comments. This is what Patrick sent me. This is a link to the Patreon.
Now nobody use that. You're gonna use that link to get to the Patreon and buy your own. Don't use Shelly's.
There's the link right there.
Because that link will only be used one time and then you can't use it again. So y'all go over there. You can get your Patreon and do all of that, and you'll be with us in church.
You're gonna learn about canning safety. You're gonna learn about sanitizing, the importance of sanitation.
We're gonna do off-grid sanitation.
You're gonna learn how to do soups, sloppy joes.
We're gonna do the Panera wannabe. It's actually not a wannabe. I think I nailed the recipe. So it is the broccoli cheddar soup. We're gonna do loaded baked potato soup. We're going to do sloppy joes. We're going to do applesauce and apple butter. And that's what, as soon as we get off here, I'm going to go start processing more apples. Mm-hmm. We picked the tree. These are all apples from our farm. And he's a picking and I'm a processing.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Great time. I've had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and thanks for the good laugh, man. There's nothing like coming off a work day like I have, and man, being able to just giggle and laugh, that was fun. I'm gonna be cheering for banana seeds tomorrow for all day.
Guys,
maybe we should start a GoFundMe for the people in Portland to get banana seeds.
They probably need the cure from the damage of the banana seeds. I remember those from the 70s. That was not fun, female or male. That was not fun.
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. It's inappropriate.
Guys, we appreciate it a bunch. I will be back on Friday morning, 8 o'clock Central Time for Clickbait and Coffee. Y'all jump in and see me there. But guys, we appreciate it, and we will see y'all soon. See you.
Go barter.
Bye.
Be at least 10% better tomorrow than you were today.
Yeah, just 10%, no more.